Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Paula. And since you are a winner, you may ask the first question, the next question. Okay, criminality.
Okay, so sir, lately on the news there have been a lot of reports about carnapping, lots of kidnapping news,
Bombings.
bombings, exactly in Manila. So what are your thoughts on this? And like, I guess, where do you think all this disorder stems from, and what can we do to address this?
Well, basically, it's a police matter. I live in Urdaneta village, and the bombing, the bus bombing that occurred a couple of weeks ago, was basically, I think, between 200 to 300 meters from my home. So we heard that, and so it's kind of direct. We were in it. We were in the middle of it. We were directly affected, and it's a little scary now that you have this high profile criminal syndicates that are actually operating in this country. The good thing is, within the last 2 weeks, there has been some progress in terms of the efforts of the Philippine National Police and the other law enforcement agencies to address this and perhaps find some sort of resolution to the problem. But I don't think this will be the first time and the last time that we'll be seeing this, given the present economic conditions that the country is being faced. Basically, the world, and we are being affected. The proliferation of these criminal syndicates, I think, will continue. So it is incumbent upon the leadership of the Philippine National Police and other government agencies to ensure the protection of the civilian. It's one thing to be exposing yourself to these syndicates as a member of the Philippine National Police, but it's an entirely different thing when the civilian population is already involved. And there is obviously a breakdown in intelligence. We are questioning, members of the House are questioning, where is the intelligence funds being utilized, and how come there is really no hard intel that will point to the perpetrators. And I guess that is something that the leadership of the Philippine National Police and the DZRJ must answer as far as the Filipino people are concerned.
Well, last year we had our budget passed.
Yes.
For the first time since 1986, we had our budget passed just before the year ended.
Yes, before Christmas break.
Congratulations to the members of the legislative. But was there really any deep, deep reflection, discussion on this budget? And as you said, the police has its intelligence fund, but now we see these things happening. What's happening now?
Well, there is. I mean, the deliberations really went far and wide, and there were some probing questions. The process was very active and alive. Obviously, we have a lot of new House members who are quite eager to learn the ropes, and they ask very hard questions. And in fairness to those who were supposed to answer, they've answered them to the satisfaction of most of the House members.
You are, sir, a member of which
I'm a member of the Appropriations Committee, the Accounts Committee, the Ways and Means, and Agriculture.
By virtue of your being an MBA, I suppose.
Well, they say those are the committees of consequence, but I do it because I'd like to participate in our primary reason for being in Congress is really the power of the purse, and everything flows from there. I mean, that is the grease that basically makes the whole machinery move. And without ensuring that the funds are appropriated properly, we will be finding ourselves in really big trouble in the near future. So I think most of the members of the Appropriations Committee are capable. They are very intelligent and informed. And I think most of those who came before the committee answered the right question.
I've been looking into this in 2011 budget, sir, and all the newspaper reports, I think last year, about time, I've read all of them. It's just one thing that is sort of a black box to me right now in bringing area or a blind spot of mine. This thing called 13 things that were vetoed by the president. What were these? So he signed the budget just on time, and then
well, basically those are insertions that
please explain to our listeners what an insertion would be.
Well, an insertion basically is an allocation of funds that that is, in my terms, probably would be questionable in terms of the total national development picture. We know that every administration has its national development plan, and we also know that the resources are limited and finite. And the intention of every administration, the supposed intention of every administration really is to maximize on those available resources. And perhaps there are certain political leaders who have tried to insert certain projects that President Pinoy did not seem too enthusiastic about, or it was not deemed to be part and parcel of his administration's agenda.
Sir,
So those.
how do you say that you're back on the private sector? How's it affected your management style in Congress?
Well, Congress is it's very slow. My management style. I was a young man when I was running the family business. I was a young man when I graduated with my MBA. So and basically, you have to get the job done at the quickest possible time. Congress tends to be a little bit slower. It's a little bit more deliberate, and it has to be. It has to adhere to certain political realities. Whereas in a business, when you run a business, the bottom line is the bottom line. In Congress, that is not necessarily the case, and you have to weigh the impact of a particular decision against the political ramifications thereof.
Could you cite to us, sir, one case, one real case where you feel you have been tested as a person and maybe as an MBA graduate, where you find your values as a manager, as a person, being sort of tested because of the political contingencies of that issue?
Well, obviously, when you talk about just purely the allocation of resources, you always try and maximize, and you try and take your way emotionally from the project itself. However, when you decide to agree to a particular project for another area other than your own district, when you agree to the allocation of a particular resource where you know that it could have been used for something else, because it will impact the lives of a greater majority of our constituents, then that is where you put your training as an MBA aside, and you start thinking within the box of a politician.
That's interesting.
And it's not black and white. Politics. I was watching a TV show yesterday. They say politics is a bargain between two beggars, and basically it's a compromise. You have to deal with the realities of both sides of the equation, and there is really no black and white to a given situation. It's really a lot of gray areas and different shades of gray, and it's really the wisdom that you have garnered through the experiences in your being in the position you're in that will help you in making the right decision.
Well, earlier you said the magic word, the bottom line. And so, sir, for you, what is the bottom line of your
But the bottom line is good governance. The bottom line is being able to meet the needs of your constituency. The bottom line really is to look at the interest of the country as opposed to your own interest. I was a reluctant politician. In fact, my first foray into politics, I ended in kicking and screaming. But now, the only reason that a politician needs to be in a position of where he is right now is because he wants to serve. And if your reason for being a politician is not to serve, don't enter into the game.
We have a population of 90 million Filipinos.
Close to 100.
Yeah, and then based on both statistics, at least 33% of that are considered poor. And for this sector, this large sector of our people, really, government is now offering this thing called the CCT, the conditional cash transfer. And I think going back to the budget, that's one thing that has been emphasized in the budget. And then, what do you think of this, Congressman?
Well, I'm a little bit bothered by it because it does not lend dignity to the people that are actually receiving it. In the short term, it probably answers the immediate needs of those who are marginalized. But the long term really is that we are developing a culture of mendicancy. And with case in point is the National Food Authority, where there's plans to basically scrap the entire budget for the NFA,
Yes.
abolish it, and pass it on to the DSWD and DA.
Yeah, that's the reason why actually I am
Right.
proposing this thing called
Right.
CCD3, because there have been reports that have come out that says that the NFA budget has been slashed and really funds will be transferred to the CCD.
And perhaps this is a good illustration of your previous question, Louis, is that there are certain agencies that have been created, like the NFA,
Okay.
does not necessarily mean that they have to make money.
Okay. Yes.
But they have to be able to maximize on the resources that are made available to them. The problem with the NFA right now really is perhaps because of some misguided leaders in the past, a culture of corruption has developed.
Okay.
Perhaps the answer really is not to completely abolish it, but to overhaul the leadership and to ensure that its mandate is being followed. The NFA's role basically is to ensure that our farmers and fisherfolk have a way for them to sell their produce so that we are self-sufficient in terms of our food requirements.
Could you explain to our listeners there, how exactly does the NFA do this work?
Well, they do it through a subsidy. We know that because you mentioned already 90 million Filipinos, I'm saying closer to 100 right now. That is an extreme amount of pressure for a country of about 300,000 square kilometers, most of which is mountainous. So very, very, very little arable land. And yet, still a majority of our population live in rural areas that are basically agricultural.
Right, right.
If you do not provide them with the support mechanisms to ensure that they will have a way for them to earn money, there will be no more incentive for our farmers and fisherfolk to really produce for the country, and we will now have to rely purely on imports to meet our daily food requirements. And that for me is very dangerous. The move of the government to remove the funding for the NFA and totally abolish it and move it to the DSWD in the guise of ibigay na lang natin yung pera doon sa mga nangangailangan directly na lang, has very, very, very serious long-term repercussions in terms of implications, in terms of our capability to feed ourselves for future generations.
And that's a very interesting point you're raising, Congressman. We'll get back to that. Let's take a break for now.